Hey there, my name's John Chapman, or Chappy, Tahoe Chappy as I'm known out on the interwebs. I'm 39 years old and only 6 months away from being 40. That'll happen in March of 2010. Yay me. It also marks my 20th anniversary of snowboarding, so kind of reflective in a lot of ways on a lot of different levels, and I'm going to share some stuff now about myself and what got me into snowboarding and my passion and why I'm still passionate. And I represent a small little voice in the snowboard community that's kind of the older guy, powder, soul, surfer, whatever you want to kind of say. But that is me. I'm definitely a backcountry guy, and I'm passionate about powder and not a whole lot else when it comes to snowboarding. I'm definitely not park guy. I don't go to the resorts too much anymore. So speaking of resorts, 1977 was the first time I went snow skiing as a kid at Squaw Valley here in Lake Tahoe. I grew up an hour and 45 minutes away, almost 2 hours, a place called Lake Oroville, down the hill a little bit. In the late 70s and early 80s, snow skiing was definitely this extremely popular thing that was happening and exploding, and I can remember the winter of 82, 83. I've got pictures of being in alpine meadows and 15, 20 foot tall snowbanks, and unfortunately that was the winter when there was a big avalanche that knocked out the lodge at Alpine Meadows and several people died. And just a lot of things that were a mark on my mind, and coming to Tahoe as a kid and in the summer and all of that. I always knew this was a magical place and always felt I wanted to figure out a way to get here for good, and I am now and all that. And but that was my first kind of taste of snow, because when it gets down to it, water was my first passion. Growing up on a lake, I was water skiing at 4 years old, and growing up, I was only slalom skiing at that time. Tried kneeboarding once or twice. That was lame. But I was a slalom skier through the mid 80s, and in high school I backed off of the snow sports, even though I was still part of the little ski and snowboard club that we had there. There was like one snowboarder in it. It wasn't until '89 that I hopped on a scurfer on the lake that a lot of the sideways board sports things really clicked for me. I mean, sure, I had a skateboard growing up as a kid, but I was more of a BMX, BB gun, dirt. I grew up on 7 acres of land, and so that was me. And being 4 hours away from Santa Cruz, I went surfing a few times, but it was water. It was water skiing, and it was that scurfer. It was that summer of '89, out scurfing on the lake, that I was like, that's it. So I told myself, all that snowboarding stuff I've been hearing about in Tahoe and seen when I've gone skiing a few times, because again, after 83 or 84, I really cut back on the amount of snow skiing I was doing. But so I came up and rented a board, went to Boreal. There was 8 to 10 inches of fresh snow, and it was perfect, because that even just made everything else further click. And midway through the day, and linking up turns and playing around on the side of the run, and I knew at the end of that day that I was never going to be a skier again, and I was now a snowboarder. During the mid-90s, with the big influx of kind of a skateboard scene into snowboarding, that still wasn't even what I identified with. It was powder. I would go hiking on my own, no AV training, no AV equipment, and solo. So, but this right here behind us is Donner Peak proper. It's also called Donner Lake Run. This is a very well-known spot for locals, and it's actually well-known in the snowboard community, and early pioneers and movies and films and cover shots and trans world. Like, this all happened right here with a lot of stuff, and this is what inspired me, was doing this hike in '93 the first time, and really getting my first purely epic day in '94 down on Jake's Peak on the west shore of Lake Tahoe in 2 feet of fresh snow. That's literally when not only did the light bulb go off, but I had that kind of epiphany, seminal moment when I got back down to my car. That's the best thing ever. I immediately got addicted, literally like a drug addict with powder. I was like that, snowboarding and making big, huge surf slash, style turns that was it for me. And since then, that's always been what's been it for me. I still hung out in the parks in the later '90s, and what qualified as a park then is kind of a joke now. But I blew up my ACL in '97 overshooting a tabletop jump at Sugar Bowl. Didn't have health insurance, didn't tell my parents, didn't do anything about it. About 5-6 years ago, blew up my right ACL moto accident, and so I don't have an ACL, and park days are so far behind me now. And I'm motivated by powder. I'm motivated by I'll go to a resort for 2 or 3 hours on a powder day, and then track everything up, hop down into my truck with the snowmobile sitting in the back, and then go find more stuff and find it day after day and a week after and all that. And so I spend very little time at a resort. I am mainly backcountry powder, and I've been lucky enough to travel a lot of places, Northern Rockies, Jackson, BC, been in Alaska now several times, heli and all that stuff. And that's truly what fuels me now is backcountry powder, connecting with Mother Nature, that spiritual moments that you get out there. And that's the voice that I represent in snowboarding, and that's what I'm going to over time share with all of you guys about the equipment and the clothing and the places and the people and all the things that really motivate me. But when it comes down to it, it is purely powder, and I'm extremely passionate for that.